And let's start with the superstar. And I'm going to use a baseball reference here. You're a baseball guy like I am. You can play college baseball, big league baseball, high school baseball, whatever it is. If you're a pitcher, they're going to work with you on how to throw strikes and how to, paint the corner and do all, you're working the zone and all that type stuff. But Mike, if you can't throw strikes, you can't pitch. Like there's a plate, the ball has to go over the plate. Now they might try to get your location and your accuracy a little bit better, but you still got to be able to throw it over that plate, don't you? Like you see it, ball comes over the plate. Okay. LaNorris Sellers doesn't throw the football well. And I'm going to say that point blank, period, the end. Now, why? We can all argue the why. Everybody can argue the why, whatever it is. But I will say this. I don't care what your offensive system or scheme is. Dudes that are wide open, guys who are contending for a Heisman Trophy should be hitting them, not airmailing all of them. And he airmails way too many of them, or he throws them at their feet. He's not playing well. He doesn't throw the football well. He ain't a first-round draft pick. He's not. Now, can he be? Sure. I'm not putting all of the chips in Mike Shula's basket and blaming him for every single thing that South Carolina's starting quarterback is not doing well. I'm not doing it. I don't think Mike Shula has helped LaNorris Sellers. I think he's made him worse. Let me be clear about that. But I also watched the starting quarterback at South Carolina, who we've seen it, is capable of making incredible plays with both his arms and both his arm and his legs. And then he just point blank misses wide open guys. So he doesn't get a pass in any of this from me. Like, I'm not the only one saying this. I hope people understand that. He ain't very good throwing the football. So how quickly does that improve? I don't know. That game the other night, I feel like could have been drastically different. If he hits a couple of wide open dudes, does that save Mike Shula's job? I don't know. I don't think so. I definitely don't think so at the end of the day. Does it save it temporarily? I don't know. I don't think so either. But nobody, to your point, I'm backing up what you were saying just a minute ago. Nobody is blameless in this. If you're Shane Beamer, you got to go hire the best guy you could possibly find to run an offense and just back up out of the way and let him run the offense. And I guess hopefully that'll be your saving grace, because that's all you got left there.
You said a ton there, and I don't disagree with any of it. A lot of it is stuff I've been saying for a while. I will say this. I'm not going to outrule the fact, as crazy as it sounds right now. As you know, I'm kind of an NFL draft nerd of sorts. I've been reading a lot up on just latest quarterback rankings. There's been a lot of quarterbacks that have been very disappointing this year.
Yeah.
Not just LaNorris. And therefore, I wouldn't outrule the fact. All it takes is one. LaNorris last year, who still was not a great passer, go back and watch. He missed open receivers. He missed throws that you should make. But that was overshadowed by some amazing moments, especially the Clemson game. And that had people just going haywire. But those are the same people that don't watch every play of every Carolina game like we do on this show, right? So even like draft experts, like they're not going to watch every single play. But all it takes is one. I would say LaNorris last year was better than Anthony Richardson at Florida ever was. And Anthony Richardson was the number 4 pick in the draft for the Colts, which I said at the time was laughable.
Very true.
And I told one of my friends at NFL Network who works and he went to the combine in Indy, and he kept saying, yeah, but Mike, he's this big and he's this fast and you should watch him, his arm. And I said, I'm just telling you, I saw enough of him to say I would never spend a top 10 pick on that kid. Mm-hmm. And I bet you there were probably 30 NFL teams that said the same thing, but all it took was one. Mm-hmm. And so for those that think, well, LaNorris has no chance, why would he even think about going to the NFL? Because all it takes is one.
Yeah.
And if you're a first-round draft pick, that fulfills a lot of dreams. So I will never fault a kid for going. If LaNorris decides at the end of this year, which has not been good at all, and to your point, and to JC's point and everybody else, I think now is on the same page. It ain't all on one guy. It ain't all on the play calling. And the offensive line, I talked to a former Gamecock offensive lineman the other day. He's like, hey, Mike, you guys going to blame the offensive line for every one of LaNorris's bad throws and missing wide? I'm like, I don't do that. That's not my bag. No,
Yeah.
that's not me, man.
I haven't done that.
No, I know, but some would like to, and that's fine. Go ahead.
Everybody has blame in this thing.
Of course.
In my opinion.
Well, how long have I been saying that? How many weeks have we gone on with this?
And I think, too, one of the things that gets a little bit that gets muddy in these conversations is some weeks the blame should be more on this or these guys or this guy or that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there have been weeks where the offensive line, if it wasn't for them in that game, they would have played better. Like,
correct.
Some weeks everything takes blame, but some weeks different areas shoulder more blame than others, in my opinion. And
100%. I totally agree. And look, if you were to tell, I really thought when Mike Shula got hired, the offense was going to look almost the exact same as it did under Dowell Loggins. I was wrong. I mean, I didn't think that they were going to really toy with it much because it's not like Mike just came from San Francisco. He was with the team all last year.
Right.
He was with the team all last year. So I didn't expect him to dramatically change the offense. That's one. None of us thought the offensive line would be, and again, it's gotten much better. There were plays where LaNorris Sellers had time to throw, and he just either missed a guy or missed the throw. So it ain't all on the O-line. But I didn't think the O-line would be, particularly beginning of the year, as atrocious as it was. I didn't see that coming. Yeah. So wrong, right? I'm more than happy to say wrong. On LaNorris Sellers, I thought he still had a ways to go as a passer and as a quarterback in the passing game. Now, I also thought he would be improved. I don't care who the offensive coordinator is. I thought LaNorris would be a better player. He's not. He's regressed.
Yeah.
He is absolutely regressed. So maybe you change an offensive coordinator and he becomes a Heisman Trophy candidate. I don't know. We'll see. I don't care so much about what he does against Coastal. I want to see what he does against, obviously, Texas A&M on the road, and then a Clemson defense that just gave up nearly half 100 points to Duke. Ooh. They look like they've mailed it in.
They got problems, yeah.
And they went and poached Knowles out of Ohio State for all that money because Dabo is like, oh, well, once we get our DC in here, that'll be this just in. Ohio State not missing Knowles, still looking like the best team in the country, and Clemson is garbage on defense. So you would think there's points to be had in that game. There's points to be had in the Coastal Carolina game, and damn it, even the Texas A&M game.
Mm-hmm.
A&M hasn't been murderer's row on defense. Their strength has mainly been Penn State. Thank you. Their strength has mainly been Marcel Reed, who's been terrific. He has played like a Heisman Trophy candidate. It's been a weird year. Again, Nussmeier has been off. Lagway, for the most part, has been off. At Auburn, you bring in Jackson Arnold, a former 5-star. He was terrible. Then you start the backup. He was worse. There have been a lot of quarterbacks. Arch Manning has not been nearly as good as people thought he would be, but he's a first-year starter. I'm talking about returning talent. There's a lot of guys that have dipped this year. It's been interesting, and they all have their own. Texas doesn't have a great offensive line. They don't, but they're all of a sudden they're winning games again. So it's just there's a lot of things to it. There certainly is, but to go back to your initial, it was unavoidable. You couldn't wait this out the rest of the year. It started taking on a life of its own, and even though it got better, I didn't think there was any chance Mike Shula would be around next year. I just thought it would be good enough where like they would just keep it, but no.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing has just been a disaster. I mean, and again, like I'm sure some of what I said will be taken in a totally different direction than what I meant it. I'm not blaming everything on LaNorris, but he just hasn't played well. I mean, there's just some things, regardless of scheme, that a quarterback at this level just should be able to do, and he's not doing them. I mean, he's not hitting guys that are open. He's been sacked, 33 times, which the very large majority of that is not on him. But then there's some plays where just throw the ball away. You can't run from everybody in the SEC. The razzle dazzle does work, but it doesn't work every time. Sometimes you just have to live to see another play.
Mm-hmm.
And and I appreciate his confidence for what that's worth, but it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work in the NFL.
I don't know if it's confidence, because I'm not sure if he's playing with much anymore.
I don't think I think
it's going back to what he's most comfortable with.
That's what I mean. He is confident in his ability to escape guys, but you just can't do it every time at this level.
Right.
You just can't, man.
No, but not a whole lot of confidence in throwing the ball and finding open receivers and whatnot. And that's been a trend. That's not a one-off.
No,
it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things.
And let me throw something else at you real quick, Mike. Let me say something even. Let me take this a step further here. We're probably going to get under some people's skin today, but it's okay. It just needs to be talked about and said. That make us bad, If there was a guy who wears a visor on the sideline, LaNorris would have been on the bench 3 or 4 games ago, regardless of whose fault all this was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you, he would have been.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't think that's the answer personally, because of what you have behind you.
But I'm saying he would have been. Someone would have put him on the bench.
You're not wrong. Trust me, you are 100% right. But in this case, I don't think that's the solution. You don't have a proven commodity behind you.
No.
So you're sinking or swimming with LaNorris.
100%.
And now you're sinking or swimming with 2 new coordinators. The offensive line is definitely improved. Sean Elliott clearly made a major difference in the way that looks, which kind of gets me. And I don't know how much you knew about the old offensive line coach. Honestly, I didn't do a deep dive on him when he got the job. But looking back at it now, I'm like, wow, what was he doing?
Mm-hmm.
What was going on in practice? Because it's the same players, but they're more organized, and yes, they are blocking better. They just are. There's a lot of things too. I think this team misses Rocket Sanders in a lot of ways. We don't talk about that much. I'm not saying the backs are bad at all. I kind of like the running back room, but Rocket Sanders was a guy. Defenses couldn't just ignore the running game. And right now, what most of these defenses are doing, they're spying on LaNorris. Illinois, I don't want to say crack the code, but they're spying on LaNorris and making sure you kind of take away. He can't just run every play. For those that want him to just run him 30 times, nobody can stop him. No, they can. If they're not concerned at all about your passing game, they can bottle him up. They can. He's not invincible. He's not. So right now, nobody fears. You've got your best passing play is to take Nick Harbor, a track speed demon, and just have him run past the secondary, which if you're Ole Miss, how do you let that happen? But that's it.
That was a great play call. A great spot for it.
Yeah.
And the ball's put on the money.
Ball, perfectly thrown ball. That was a well-designed play, but it's the other plays that you're like, these WTF moments, huh? How does that not get complete? How do you not see that guy? That's out there too. That's out there. That's been part of the whole situation. So, we'll see. We'll see how the play calling changes, what it looks like. We'll see if there's a great change on how it looks and how it performs. But I still believe every game is relevant. There's not going to be a head coaching change. I'm convinced. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But for those that are hoping that happens, I don't see that. I don't see that. I think you're going to perhaps see other changes on the staff, but all these games are still relevant, and you've got a chance still. Right now, Texas A&M may be the best team in the SEC. Certainly, the record would say so. And you've got a chance to beat Clemson 3 out of 4.
Right.
And that should still excite a lot of people, I would think. As much as this has been a disappointment in a number of different ways, and it has been, you still have a chance to do. All these games are still very meaningful in my eyes.
You buy yourself some time if you win that one, that's for sure. And don't
Yeah.
lose against Coastal. Those are like equally important.
That would
Like,
also be a good thing to avoid. Yes.
Yeah, don't lose to them. And then also beat the team next at the end of the year.